Hello, Sunday afternoon. I've had a lovely few days. My friend Jane's been over to visit, so she came over on Friday, went home on Saturday, and we've potted in the garden, but we've actually got quite a lot done. It's one of those occasions when no matter how much you just think you're sitting around, and you're actually doing things as well, which is always really, really productive. I like those. So I've come out to the food forest and I want to show you just what we've been doing. So a couple of weeks ago I made an archway to go from the food forest through into the vegetable garden. And when I made it, it was quite low. It was not a very big gap between my head and the top of it, and I was quite concerned that when things were growing up over it, in fact we'd hit our heads on it each time we went through. So I tried to think of ways to be able to raise it up, and also make it more stable. So what Jane and I have done is taken one of the very long pallets and taken the top section off it, so the top quarter has gone, and then I fixed this metal grid back over the top of it, but actually there's none at the bottom, so it means it's much higher. It's now way above my head, and it's also quite sturdy. And now I didn't want this to be absolutely rigid, because the wind that comes across this site means that it would probably rip it out of the ground. So it needed a bit of flexibility, which it's got. As you can see, the pallet only comes about 3/4 of the way across. I am going to cut another piece of pallet that will fit here and fit this, but in the meantime I've popped in this cane which is going into the ground, and that will just stop us and the children running into the metal corner here and here, because I really didn't want them to hurt themselves. But I'm so pleased. It looks great, it feels great, it gives some real height to the garden. So that was the first thing we did, and then we went to this area next to it, which was just full of weeds. In this area we pulled up the worst of the weeds, just ripping them out of the ground. They went into the trolley and off to the ducks, who were very pleased about that. And then we covered this area in a layer of cardboard under here. And then we planted a few plants. So I've got a rose in the corner there that I took from a cutting from a bouquet a while back. So I'm really pleased that that's now in the ground. There's a few antirrhinum snapdragons, which... Hello Monty, which were actually growing in the gravel in the yard. There's a small euonymus at the back, a golden green one. That's going to be hopefully a nice evergreen shrub at the back. The pot there has just it's got my white currants in it. They're not staying there. I just pop them there for now. This is one of the peonies that I bought myself a while back. This is Avalanche, so it's a white peony. And over here and going up The new archway is another rose that I took from a cutting, and that was one that I took when we left our last house. I took a couple of pieces off a climbing rose that was going over a wall tucked in the corner of our very small garden, and hurrah, it's grown and it's very happy. And earlier in the year I took it from its pot, planted it in the food forest, and it went whoomph and grew really well, but we have now moved it to here, and hopefully it will like it here too. Monty, why are you chewing my thumb? Oh, does it taste very lovely? Is that because I had chicken soup for dinner? Does my hand still taste of chicken? Does it? Oh. So yes, our ever faithful companion is with me. He's looking very skinny at the moment. He's not skinny. He's shed all his excess fur, and ow. So he's svelte rather than skinny, and he's in a really playful mood today. Thank you, Monty. I think that's enough, don't you? Oh, no, don't. Come on, let's go and show them what else Jane and I did. You coming with me? Come on then. Jane also, and it really was Jane, not me, cleared this area of weeds, and we've put down a really nice layer of wood chippings over the top again, so hopefully that will keep the weeds down for quite some time. But Jane cleared away masses and masses of grass. I cleared the few stinging nettles that were here, and again all of that went off to the ducks for them to dibble through. Really pleased to have got this done. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up or leave a comment, or both, and if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And the other thing that we did was start to lift the lavender hedge from here. So the first one has come out, and we have transplanted it. So dug quite a deep hole, quite a wide hole, and dropped the whole plant into it, a bit lower down than it was planted here. So a lot of its stems are now underground, and hopefully that will rejuvenate it, and what we'll actually end up with is quite a vigorous big plant, but it starts making some space here. So I'm going to be taking the rest of this lavender hedge out. I'm going to get lots of compost into the soil. I've saved the last of the homemade compost so I can really give this ground a really good treatment. And then the new white lavender hedge will be going in here later in the year, probably mid-autumn. I'll get that in, and just that will give it a chance to settle during the winter, and then hopefully next spring it'll really start growing again. I bought the white lavender in the early spring as very small rooted cuttings, which I've been growing on in the greenhouse since then. They've even flowered this year, which has been absolutely brilliant. So I have an idea. They really are white, and I can have an idea of what it's going to look like. Well, that's it for me today. I'm heading indoors to carry on pulling little elderberries off their stems. And so, wherever you are in the world and whatever you've got planned for the day, I hope it's a good one. I also hope you'll join me again tomorrow.